Perfect. Okay, hang on just a second. We're going live on YouTube and then I'll turn it over to y'all. Okay. Oops.
So it's gonna do an AI transcript as well?
Okay. No, I don't think so. I don't think we're that lucky. Okay. Okay, go ahead, start away.
A word. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Apologize for the late start. We had some technical difficulties. And I would, Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
Second that.
Have a motion, a second, and discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Carries. All right. You go right into the information discussion portion, Mr. Martin, do you care to kick us off on this?
Certainly, thank you. So if you'll go to 3A in your packet, the inside front cover. All of this information is from our work with Jim from OSBA, in which we talked about the board goals, superintendent goals, and working agreement or compact. So under board goals, the two overarching goals are focus on adopted priorities and student achievement. You see down below 1, 2, and 3. 1 is focus on adopted priorities. Administrative updates will be aligned with the strategic plan, 4 pillars. Safe and engaging schools, thriving students, academic success, that good school community. 2, using data to inform our decision making. And then 3, adherence to the board superintendent compact. Roadmap requires formalization of assigning the board superintendent operating compact. The agreement is designed to clarify rules, establish no surprises protocols regarding sensitive issues, and define proper channels for investigations. So that's all I have for 3A.
So we'll vote on this later. June.
Okay, so 3B.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, when will we be discussing? For each thing or at the end?
At the end, right now, this is just informational. If you have any questions,
We do have a question, but I don't, that's what I'm asking, is this just, he's gonna, the superintendent's gonna go through and then we'll come back, or we do?
Yeah,
we will shut out. Okay.
3B, Mr. Chair. Strategic implementation. Communication and transparency. The bullets down below there. Formalize the board superintendent operating compact, establish a board facing master calendar. And continue the 4 pillar reports, which I just read, so I want. Continue monthly enrollment, attendance, and bullying reporting. Enhance media presence strategy. Quarterly social media analytics. And narrative branding, trying to get our sweet home story about all the wonderful things that are going on out there. We continue to work on that. We just going to try and do so in a more thoughtful and organized way. Student achievement and SB 141 compliance. I believe that both of our 2 board officers here tonight at the OSBA training heard more about Senate Bill 141 and its more compliancy issues from the state. So Senate Bill 141 progress reports. We talked about the Bullseye education platform launch, moving our evaluation system online. Give teachers quicker feedback and greater oversight with the progress on evaluations. State standard integration reports. And then it's not actually annual assessor reviews. There will be interim assessments that will be reporting out on. So that is it for 3B. So 3C, Mr. Chair. Uh, 3C, board superintendent operating combat, under core operating principles, mutual respect, assuming good intent, confidentiality and trust, and no surprises. Board goals focus on adopted priorities, data informed decisions, meeting protocols of professionalism, advanced communication, admin preparedness, avoiding monkey wrenches, preparation, unified front, and the operational framework. Take a look at the professional governance, commitment to growth, student-centered focus, community partnership. And that is it for A, B, and C. Would you like me to go ahead with D now?
Yeah, go ahead.
E, if you'll look at 3E, very end of the packet. This is a student data suppression rule. This is consistent with past practice and statewide policy. Essentially, it's the law of the land. However, we've been encouraged to get it in our local policy. This is protecting the confidentiality of students when you have very, very small numbers, generally less than 10 students in a group. Or if we were to have a group of students in whatever grade and 100% of them did or didn't do something. So the idea here is that at the margin, it's very, very small. Or above 95%, that data is suppressed. Our state reports, we received this way already. Again, the request here is it's in policy so that with our increased accounting reporting, we're not potentially identifying specific individual students. We have a classroom of Holly, you know, and we have 10 kids that did X. That would, you know, we would know that all 10 of those kids did that. And that's not fair to students. So 10 and under, 5% and under, 95% and over. And this again is simply just making us consistent with what the policy already is. It's getting a local policy for
This, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the one that has to be in policy by the end of September.
correct. So that's why
That's
that's
on the agenda for tonight.
added today for first reading. It'll come up Monday for a second. And we would like the board to be able to act on it if possible. Just to meet that timeline is all. So with those four, that is the information I have.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. Address the item E, the board letter, or the letter to the board from Lou Cosberger. I'm sure all you've seen that is emailed out to the board. All the board. Little background, Lou asked or was not filed, but asked for certain records that we had. Some of those were created in executive session. So we went to OSBA, said, you know, do we have to give those since they were in executive session? OSBA said yes. The board ops, when that came back, board officer said, I don't think so, so we sent it to our attorney, and she said, yes, you have to. So we then turned over. In the meantime, it got. Let's say. Mike had sent a letter to him saying, release the information was released. It was.
Mike responded, what he's referring to is Mike responded to. The email from Luke went to the entire board, added Terry, and then other than a brief reply.
Mike, me and you were.
Yes.
Oh, were you referring to Mike in the third person, so I was kind of curious. Oh,
No.
so Mike would be.
Yeah, so, Monday, crafted a letter to, Luke, because he had questions why it wasn't addressed. As board chair, crafted the letter, sent it to him, he received the information, so it's a moot point. At this point, he has the information, the whole process did, help refine our process internally. So, Julie has now a checklist of when stuff comes in for, like, it should be signed. It's goes to one person, then it's filling it out and collecting it back.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
you have copies of this, and also just for clarity, that information was provided on. June 29th,
prior to the.
When I was at 25th, excuse me. So the information that he had requested ultimately was delivered on June 25th. And so it's now been quite some time that was taken care of.
So just to clarify, I know he had the records request and we gave him the records and okay, do we send them electronically or via mail to him?
Already said.
He requested the email, okay. Part of your checklist, I have them up. Over, but, are you going to do some sort of receipt? Like, make sure that they've opened it, so that on our end, we can say that they already received it and open their packet, their email. And I'm trying to think of the word for that, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's part of your, yeah, right, receipt. Yeah, receipt, yeah.
That's all I have, about it. If anybody cares to see the letters and stuff, it did go out. I printed it out, but did, my printer had fun off, it is here. If anybody cares to see it.
Sure. Just get, do, want to get it now or?
Right. Action items. First, 4A, approve the board goals. Here's where you can make a motion and have more discussion.
So this is where we're gonna make a motion, have discussion, okay?
Yep.
I make a motion to approve the school board goals and 3A as written.
Second that motion. Motion to approve the board goals and second. Discussion.
Yeah, I had some questions, the school board goals, is that something that you have done in the past?
Yes.
And have they been in this format where you have the chair signing? Or is that what that is? Is that a signature block?
Yes, that's signature block. It, I don't recall if there's a signature block, but yes, there has been board goals in the past. We're supposed to have board goals, we have fallen out of that. I'd say the past 3 years, we're off kilter on our full calendar, so this is a attempt to get us all back. Let's say in a groove.
So we have policies and then we have a goal. Can you tell me the hierarchy of that and the enforceability or whatever of this goal?
The goals is what the board is working towards. As far as enforceability, it's not necessarily enforcement, but if we're deviating from it, then we're not working towards. Well,
The only reason I ask is because we already have board approved policies for, the board goals. So that it's policy BA, and I was just curious which one supersedes, which one, comes over, or are they lateral? And the reason I'm asking you that is because a policy does require the vote of the board. And a majority of the vote, and this has three, the chair and two.
this will be voted on by the board,
Okay, that's, okay.
but the three officers would sign it.
I see, so tonight we're just doing a review, the action item where it says approve the board goals, we're approving these goals to go to the Monday meeting.
No, we're approving them for tonight,
Oh,
so the will. We're
I see what you're saying.
we're voting on to approve or not tonight,
Okay,
and then if it's approved, then the board officers will sign it.
gotcha. Okay, so I do recall, these are based on when that person from OSBA came in, did a great job.
It's based on the work that we've done over the past 3-4 months.
So I went back tonight or earlier today and I watched the YouTube. And so the compact has me a bit confused because I know we talked about communication and transparency. But the transparency piece was not, in my understanding, something where we're in an agreement with the superintendent because the superintendent works for us. And this compact, when I read it, it's like asking,
Beyond the board goals portion,
yeah, the adherence to the board superintendent compact.
okay, which is the last, which is C.
Yeah, so we're gonna treat everyone equally and with dignity. And we assume good intent. So then there's these words that just have me concerned about no surprise protocol, monkey wrenches. If we're assuming good intent, I just feel like as elected officials, being like, there should always just be a saying, have good intent. And that coming to a board meeting, we want to provide as much information as possible. Okay, when I watched the video, Dustin said, yeah, like Kevin was Mr. Johnny on the spot. We asked him a question and he had that answer. And I feel like that's what we want from our superintendent. And if there's something that is sensitive, I believe that would just be an appropriate response. I'm sorry, that's sensitive information and we'll have to do that later. Or I don't have that information, I'll get back to you.
The intent of the no surprises is if you have questions, ask them before the meeting, so you're not putting anybody on the spot.
I think
That
when I,
means Kevin Kevin's good, he usually does have. Ryan's, he can pull it out his brain and tell you, but it may not be that, he may have to look something up. That's the point. So it's kind of streamlined the meeting. We get the information out, we're not hiding anything. But we're disseminating it.
I guess that's what I'm saying is if we have a question and the superintendent or anyone that doesn't know the answer, the appropriate responses, I'll look into it and get back to you. So I guess what I'm saying is if good intent is what is expected of board members, and we do have BCD that governs who we are as a board in our relationship with the superintendent, I would just think that trust would prevail.
You would think that, but it doesn't always. This is just backing that up.
But this, I'm expressing my opinion, that this feels less than trustful. And like if we are, as elected officials, supposed to be transparent to the voters. We should in a meeting be able to ask the question, and again, if the superintendent or whomever we're asking doesn't know. Just like any meeting that you probably attend and I attend, I'll get back to you on that. And of course, I think the board would want to try to always present information that, but being under a compact just doesn't sit well as a government official. Especially, well, you know what I'm trying to say, we are elected. And the superintendent does work for the board, not the other way around. So the transparency that we did, we went with the OSBA person, transparency wasn't us to be transparent with the superintendent, but the superintendent to be transparent with us. That was the idea of the transparency and communication.
Mr. Chair. Yes. I'm simply looking for the will of the board here. Our duty isn't to a block of voters. Our duty is to our students.
And you know, I'm not gonna say that by saying that we're elected officials, that we are beholden to the people who elected us. They elected us for the children. So of course, that's always the bottom line, is for the children. I'm just finding it surprising. Your reaction to me. I mean, I mentioned it before. If we all have the best intentions and we have nothing to hide, why do we need to be governed by some poor interaction principle that says that we're to communicate with you so that we're not throwing a monkey wrench or.
Well, can I interject something?
Right.
The way I took it. Agree is. If there's a topic that's on the agenda that's brought up. We're free to ask questions about that. I don't think they're saying that. I think what they're saying is if we break. 4-page read, that we're gonna do an open. You know, comment session as board members, we should probably run that. That idea, that problem, whatever. To our chairs and let them. Present that. In a kind of a pre-meeting so that they can bring information to that. Or if it's to say, well, really, if that's something we really can't talk about in a session that has to do with the personnel issue, which we really can't talk about. You know, I think we've had that come up in here, when we've had to stop some comments because it's getting into an area that's sensitive that we can put ourselves liable out there for that. And I interpret it as a way, if we have those types of questions, because we had one series of questions out here as to what is with the, what was her name was here? Jen,
Awesome.
when she was here, she put up 10 or 12 different subjects up there. Is this something we can discuss in an open board meeting? Yes or no? Is this something that we can tell our constituents and community? Can we have an open conversation with them on this? Yes or no? Can we do it? And that was very informative. You know, and I think that's what, to me, that they're saying is if you want something big to talk about, put it on the agenda prior to just sitting down here and asking these questions like that. I don't look at it as they're putting a squeeze on us to limit our what we can to talk about, but we are limited to what we can and cannot talk about.
So it sounds like what we have is a training issue where the 5 of the 9 members are relatively new. So I think we might be needing a bit more, like, did you say Chris and someone was at the OSBA?
Well, we had that at the last meeting, the last 2 meetings.
I'm not shocked about going to, wasn't there an OSBA?
There we must be encounters.
Did anybody
Yeah.
go for it?
Yeah, we went.
So that's what I took it as. I don't take this as they're squelching us. They're just asking you know, that rather than dropping something out here. Kevin, like I said, I thought I was pretty impressed when he said, turns it, well, it did me 30 seconds, and I'll look that up about the drug testing, and in 27.5 seconds, he had 1 year, and in 5.5 seconds, he had the other.
But I think that's what you're proving the point.
Well,
Why is we do not need something to govern our questioning or our comments or concerns that we bring to the board? And you are very good, you've been here for quite a long time. And so if you hear someone starting to say something that might be of concern, you can always, as the chair, say that's something that we can't talk about in a public meeting. Again, I'm just concerned that we're making this compact when we already have policies that we should enforce. You hear about it with the government all the time. It's like, why don't we already enforce what's already there rather than creating new stuff?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
this is something very common across school districts. And this was in part due to a commentary that you had made. I'm not gonna quote it directly, but you had essentially spoke of feeling somewhat, I'll use the term dismayed. About being able to ask questions.
Hmm.
And this is formalizing the process in which, do you recall that? I don't wanna,
I'm not certain,
okay.
yeah.
But you spoke about feeling like you need to ask the questions that the public, you feel the public want to hear. And I will say, I don't think Kevin, any director, should be put on the spot like that. And another one that came from that same meeting was, well, what's our policy on nepotism? There's our folks like that. If that question went to Dale as the chair. What's our policy on nepotism having to do with Ohio? Then we could have had it ready to go and say, yeah, our policy on nepotism is this one. This is what it says. So part of this is to help you not feel the way that you said you felt.
Okay. I think what when I made that comment, which I'm now remembering, it wasn't about not getting an answer. Right? Not that you weren't ready to have an answer. It's just that the board here, this is the public face of the school district, and this is when everyone gets to have information relayed that concerns their kids.
Through the agenda.
Right, so if we get someone sitting there telling us something very interesting that sparks a question in your mind, as a board, that's our duty or our role is to ask. All of every policy and everything that we create, it's the superintendent follows, so it's in the best.
it's not your duty to ask, then it's your duty to ask and come back in a subsequent meeting to disseminate the correct information.
Is that a policy or is that just a guiding principle or what is that?
I don't have policy on hand, that's why. When public comments come up, that's why the board is not. Answering the questions from the, take the information in. We as a board. And officers. Look at that information, and then if we have something that we need to figure out. Then we can go and do that, we can come back and then we can address it at a meeting. That's what the agenda's for, yeah, it's the agenda.
Right. But as far as asking questions, you said we're not supposed to do that. Is that in a policy or is that just what you're saying is best practice?
All comments are directed to me, basically.
I believe it's in Robert's rules, if you go into Robert's rules, it will explain that a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I can definitely get that information.
Yeah, Robert's rules is not my friend. I don't know if he's a friend of anybody, but man, that is just convoluted. I've tried.
That's what we run our meetings on.
Oh, I get that.
So, but that's where I read that information.
Well, I mean, but isn't that when you say any questions? you know, you say, you ask any questions, and we have a question.
This section is about topic.
There's been times for when we have vote, you know, it's time for discussion to talk about something, but. Someone might say, I'm up and do a presentation, any questions, or the person might say, any questions, and it's like, yeah.
But that would be on the topic at hand, correct? So if someone's presented, then the question would be on what they presented on.
You're asking me, yeah, like if Kevin has a presentation about, I don't know, the budget or the upcoming, construction, and he asks any questions, then we, yeah.
And that's on the topic that's being spoken of, or something or the.
So then you have things called board comments, or if someone wants to add something to the agenda, like I have something I want to add to the agenda, that is when they would do it.
Yeah, you correct that. To you, yeah,
At the beginning of the meeting before the approval.
Yeah.
Or even after the approval of the agenda, and you could say, Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we add.
I mean, I think I'm seeing that we wanna make sure that we, as a board, are conducting ourselves in a manner worthy of respect. And so by following procedures and guidelines, we would hope that that would be the end result, correct?
yeah, we're trying to get back, we're trying to not have what happened, the beginning of last year happened.
That's what I was feeling the intent was. What I remember is that we all made an agreement that that wasn't gonna be talked about, that we're all going to be conducting ourselves in a better fashion. And I feel as though we really have, I've.
Yes,
I'm
but
concerned.
this is going forward, it's building blocks.
But it's the superintendent. It's a core value for this.
I realize that we're the governing body, but whether you like it or not, he's still part of our team. We have, he's our employee, but he's still part of our team.
I think that just putting that out there, it's a little word compact, you know, just to the best of your ability and form. You know, this idea of a compact is, I don't know. That's enough on it, thank you. I have a couple other questions though about something else, so.
Any other discussion on this? All right, all in favor of approving the board goals? Do we want to take a roll call?
Yes, I'm gonna do that. Let's see your list. Let's go this way. We'll start with Dustin,
Yes,
Mary,
No,
Dale,
Yes.
Mike Adams,
Yes.
Amanda Carter. Yes, we're not, Rachel Maynard. And Robert Lynch.
and Chris, did you ask for that?
Oh, yeah, the transfer, sorry, Chris Harrison.
Yes,
Motion passes.
Mr. Chair, before we move on,
Yeah.
I think I heard a request for additional training. And if that's the will of the board, you know, we can certainly facilitate that, whether it's Robert's rules of order, any of the things that we've covered. We actively support the training. So if that is the will of the board, please just let us know and we can help facilitate that. Thank you.
All right, approve the superintendent goals. So that way I'll share with them.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for you. I know you got labeled superintendent's goals 380, but. Oh, there we go, superintendent's goals. So these are his goals in 380. And And I guess I'll just state that typically there are board goals and then and we create board goals so that the superintendent can create his goals that are consistent for. So that the organization is moving in the same direction. That's all I really have.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion we approve the superintendent goals in 3B.
I second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Want to thank you so much for the board facing master calendar. I know but I think we discussed that years ago and I'm very excited to see it coming to fruition. The star K8. I tried to look that up. Is that SCAAR or SCAR? Because I couldn't find it. Yep. Oh,
It's STAR and it's from Renaissance.
okay, I did see Renaissance,
Yes.
okay, and that's K through 8. And do you have something for high school that you're thinking?
We are working on the, Mr. Chair, if I
Yes, go ahead.
we are working on the high school portion. We're actually considering the STAR is available also at the high school level. And so we are considering that with this plan. I've already spoken with high school principal, you know, they've been off, and there's been some medical stuff to take, so various staff members. We know that there needs to be reporting off from high school. We're just looking to see what that would be. And so there probably is additional information coming forth on that, whether it is extending the STAR for high school. Right now they have pre and post assessments. We would like to see something a little more systematized. So that would lead to, you know, trimester reporting for sure, but even, monthly information, which could possibly even take on, you know, percentage of students passing their classes.
Perfect.
Just trying to get, information for board members.
So the star K8 and maybe subsequent high school, it's just like an assessment, like
Yes.
like an I'm ready type of assessment. Do you have any idea how long it is? Is it like hours, like it's
It's more of a brief, in my understanding, it's more of a brief.
I think it's
So, you know, we're not trying to repeat the OSAS assessment.
Right.
Where it's 2 weeks long. That's
Yeah.
What happened?
And so this might,
Mandated to us by.
the SB 141.
Yeah, but. SB 141 set it up, but, heck, just. Or they just, did the. What the district that has to use for the. Assessments and stuff, yeah.
There are a lot of hard stops built in. K3 attendance, early elementary reading rates, 3rd grade reading, 8th grade math. 4-year graduation rates, 5-year graduation rates, your percent on track. So there are much more reporting speed will be coming forth. And then as far as STAR, there were, I believe 5 is what it came down to, 5 different assessments that the state is allowing districts to use for a local measurement. And working with staff, this was the local measurement that was selected.
And then you'll be just using that information for the 4-pillar academics. Love it. The narrative branding, awesome. Can't wait for that to happen. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through because I had everything on my phone. So that STAR. Is there the student rule that's coming down? The student data suppression rule, does the information from that, is that affected? It is. So the STAR assessments, those will be a large group or small group information.
The suppression is at the margins, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
That's when you get 10 or fewer students, 5% or less, and 95% or more. And so that's not something that's going to impact wide blocks of students. It's going to be very small, limited amounts. And that actually already has been happening. Like with the state reports that we're receiving, we don't receive down to that granular level. It'll just be an asterisk. The number's too small to be pulled out.
Okay. Okay. And then I see this is to the board chair. Mr. Chair, I see that we have B and C as two separate items. I believe the compact is in, but I could be wrong. Is the compact separate from the goals?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
3C is the
Separate.
compact, so yes, while what Mike said is I think it's all going together. 3C is a separate item, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can take a look.
Let's start with Mary.
Can you come back, please?
Come back to me, please. We'll skip and go to the jail.
Yes.
Mike Adams,
Yes.
Amanda Carter. Yes. Rachel Maynard. Yes. Chris Tyson,
Yes,
Robert Wester. Yes. Dustin Nickel
Yes.
and Mary.
I do have a follow-up question because we have 3C. I see that under goal 1, communication and transparency, formalize the board superintendent operating a compact. I'm not in favor of that, so if I vote no, yes, am I saying that I am approving that compact? Because it is listed under a goal.
This is his goal, so, I mean, you can vote however you want.
I'll just vote no.
Fair.
I like everything else, Terry, besides that.
Thank you.
Okay, then we pass. And on to third superintendent compacts. On the hats, compact.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the superintendent operates school board operating compact.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Julie, can you please take another roll call vote.
Let's start with Mike Adams,
Yes.
Amanda Carter. Yes. Rachel Maynard,
She's a yes.
Chris Tyson,
yes,
Robert Webster. Dustin Nickel,
Yes.
Mary Speck.
No.
Did you say no?
No.
And Dale King.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Do we signatures correct on the compact? So if you can before we get out, if we will stop by and I have a copy here for board members to sign. And get that going, those of you online, if you, we'll get you when you're here at the next board review. And if you have information for you to adjourn, if you are interested, we started this last 2 months of the prior year, we're inviting board members to the officer meeting. We can only have one at a time. I have a list here, we're gonna pass this around, if you're interested to put your name down and then Julie will send out a reminder, and if we have too many, then have to, we'll take the coordination,
So that at the office of the board meeting, there's 4, which is still less than quorum.
yeah. That's
I see.
yeah. And with that,
That review.
meeting is adjourned.